Thank you for joining us for the On-Campus Housing Reapplication and Room Selection webinar. Today, we'll be reviewing the process for students to select on-campus housing for the next academic year. I am Kyle Rice, the Associate Director for Housing Operations for the Department of Housing and Residence Life. Let's begin by discussing who is allowed to live on campus. First and second year undergraduate students are required to live on campus, unless they meet the criteria and apply for a residency exemption. Students that meet residency exemption requirements are those that will be 21 before the first day of classes, married students, and students living at home with their legal guardian at their primary residence within 50 miles of campus. On campus, we also have options for undergraduate juniors and senior students. Juniors and seniors are welcome to live with us as space permits. Students must be full-time, fully registered Tulane students to live on campus, and they must be undergraduate students. All students that go through the housing selection process must complete an application to be able to use our online housing portal to select their room. So one of the most important things for all of our students to know is that they must apply to live on campus to be able to go through this process. So why does Tulane require students to live on campus for their first 2 years? National research tells us that for their first 2 years, students that live on campus have higher GPAs. These students also are better connected to their peers and to campus services and support. Many of our juniors and seniors choose to live off campus, as by this time they're more prepared to take on the additional responsibilities of paying rent and utilities and are ready to learn the life skills of living more independently. There are 3 major phases of the reapplication process. The first of these is investigation of a student's housing options. To assist students in doing this, we have 360-degree room photos on the Our Communities webpage of our Housing and Residence Life website. This will enable students to see what a room in each community looks like. Additionally, on the room selection page of our website, students will soon find video tutorials on how to apply for housing, create a roommate group, and how to select their room. If students are looking for roommates, a great way to find them is to talk to students on their floor, consider posting in their group, Facebook group for their class, or using our Future Friends app. More information about that app can be found on our website under the room selection page. Lastly, students are encouraged to talk to their friends and roommates about living together, what they're looking for in a roommate, where they want to live, to make sure that they might be compatible. Next, students will apply for housing and sign their housing agreement. Students must have a housing agreement signed by the close of the application to participate in room selection. If a rising second-year student that is required to live on campus does not apply for housing or applies late, they will be assigned to a room at the end of room selection from the remaining inventory of rooms. Late applications from third or fourth year students or transfer students will not be accepted until any outstanding wait lists are fulfilled. After application, students will receive a room selection time slot and information on how to create a roommate group. A roommate group is all of the people that a student wants to live in their suite. After they form their group, at their designated time slot, they will select their housing together. So how can you help your student through this process? Remind your student to read the emails they receive from Housing and Residence Life, and refer to the information on our website. Students get many emails, and a lot of them are from us. It is very important that students read those emails thoroughly for information on deadlines, tips, and important upcoming information. On our website, you can find a variety of different information. On our room selection website, we'll have our tutorial videos posted soon. On our Communities website, you can find 360-degree photos to see what rooms look like. Help your student consider their needs and weigh their options. Does your student want to live in an 8-person suite, but you think they might thrive better academically and socially if they were to live with less people? These are important conversations for them to have. On our website, you will see proposed room rates for the upcoming year. Please talk to your student if there are specific room types you prefer they select in or don't select in. And encourage your students to reach out to Housing and Residence Life if they have any questions at all. Now we're going to look at what the options are for our returning students. For the 1920 school year, we will have one upper class residential learning community. That is our honors community. The honors community will be located in Weatherhead Hall. That building is all suite style housing, meaning that just a few students share a bathroom that is conjoined to their room. And that building has both doubles and singles. Students that are eligible to live in this community are current members of the honors program, and they should be aware that there is a separate application required to live in this community. So in addition to their regular housing application and contract, they will have to apply specifically for the residential learning community by submitting some essays. We have a variety of communities that returning students can select housing in. The majority of these housing options are suite style. Suites mean that there are 2 rooms that adjoin a bathroom that is shared amongst all the residents of the suite. The majority of suites are either 2 or 4-person suites, but there are some variations on that. The first of which are our largest suites located in Phelps and Irby residence halls. These suites have up to 8 students sharing a suite. These are 4 double rooms connected to a bathroom. There are no single rooms in these communities. Students that are interested in living in this community should be aware that this is a very popular community. Every year we have more groups of 8 than we have 8-person suites. So all students looking to select here should have a backup plan should an 8-person suite not be available at their selection time. Our next 2 communities are very similar. Greenbaum and Mayer are both suite-style communities with both double and single rooms. The maximum number of students that can be housed in a Greenbaum or Mayer suite is 4. Our last suite-style building is Decoud-Labatt. These are double and single rooms within this community. However, unlike most of our other communities, Decoud-Labatt mixes single and double rooms within a suite, so there are some 3-person suites available in addition to the standard 2- and 4-person suites. Our last housing option for students is apartment-style housing. Our Aaron apartments are designed and primarily targeted for our juniors and senior students. However, there will be some space to permit sophomores to select an Aaron. This is another community in which students looking to select an Aaron, especially rising sophomore students, should have a backup plan in case there are not apartments available at their time of selection. Aaron apartments have both double and single rooms, a living room, a bathroom, and a small kitchen. There are 3-, 4-, and 5-person apartments available in Aaron. All utilities and amenities are included in Aaron, so students do not have to worry about paying multiple different bills should they live in that apartment community. Aaron, as well as all of the other communities we have described, have more information available to you on our website, including 360-degree photos of what rooms in those communities look like. Please go to housing.tulane.edu and click on Our Communities to see more. This slide details the calendar for the returning student room selection process. The most important dates on this slide are the due dates for the housing application and, if applicable, the date that the honors essay application is due for students wishing to live in that community. Once again, if students do not apply on time by the close of the application, they will not be allowed to go through the process and select their room. So once again, all students that plan on living on campus must submit an application and sign a housing agreement. The completion of that application is what tells Housing and Residence Life that those students want to live on campus. That is what is required to generate their housing time slot. One important note is that rising sophomore students are required to live on campus. So even if they choose not to apply or do not apply on time, they still will be assigned to a room after all students have had the opportunity to select their spaces. Students will receive more information about this process at the beginning of the spring semester. All of the information that students are emailed will also be made available at housing.tulane.edu. Housing is available to all full-time undergraduate students. Sophomore students are required to live on campus. Junior and senior students are allowed to live on campus as space permits. Students currently on leave of absence are allowed to participate in the room selection process. All pieces of the selection process are online, so students will be able to participate while away from campus, on leave, or while studying abroad. Students planning on studying abroad for fall that will not be on campus do not need to go through this process this spring. They will have a separate process to go through in the late fall to apply for spring semester housing upon their return if space permits. If a student is not yet sure if they will be studying abroad for fall, they are highly encouraged to go through this process and cancel their housing as soon as they know they will be going abroad. Once room selection begins, it will happen in order of seniority. Rising seniors, then rising juniors, then rising sophomores will select. After those selections, students that did not apply or did not apply on time will be housed in their remaining availability of housing. In the event that we maintain a wait list, students on the wait list will be housed as space becomes available throughout the course of the spring semester and into early summer. Determining whether a student is a senior or junior or rising sophomore is determined based on years on campus, not by credit hour. Each student that receives a time slot will be able to form a roommate group and then select their space. They will not be able to log in to select rooms prior to their given time slot. One important question that we typically receive is how time slots are assigned. Time slots are assigned completely randomly by a computer system. They are not assigned by hand by members of our staff, and they cannot be changed once assigned. Students are able to create groups with their friends, and that is how they will move forward through the room selection process as a unit to select their rooms, suites, or apartments. Once a student's time slot has opened, they will log into the housing system and select their room. Students selecting with their friend group will choose a suite that can accommodate all members of their group, and they will assign each student in the group to the bed in which they will reside. The student with the earliest time slot in the group should be the group leader. They will be the person responsible for selecting housing. The reason for this is the earlier the time slot, the more available housing options they will have to choose from. Students are required to fill their suite, so the number of members in the group must match the number of beds in the unit in which they are selecting. For example, a group of 7 could not select in an 8-person suite because they could not fill all 8 beds. Another important reminder I mentioned previously is that students should have a backup plan in case their intended selection is not available at time of selection. Students that have medical needs for a specific type of housing must apply for housing accommodations with the Goldman Center for Student Accessibility. They should be mindful of the preferred application date. These requests must be accompanied by medical documentation, so students seeking accommodation should consider using their winter break to get in to see their doctors or specialists to obtain necessary documentation. If you or your student have any questions about the returning student room selection process, we encourage you to check out our website at housing.tulane.edu for students to read their emails or for you to contact Housing and Residence Life. You can email us at housing@tulane.edu or give us a call at 504-865-5724. Thank you so much.